The Excel Advanced Functionality course is designed around the idea that you would be doing this course if you were the kind of person that needed to learn more about how to improve functionality in Excel, which means you're not going to be looking at databases that I have in front of me here and looking at the tools we would use to manage this kind of data. For example, things like pivot tables, filtering, sorting, those kind of things. But instead you're going to look at how to take an Excel table like I have in front of me and just improve the way that it works. Now, for example, here originally I would have to type in the sales rep name, and problems here was spelling, grammar, capitals, lowercase. So instead I have now gone and created a list, and that list of course now will control what names can be typed into the cell, and it also control the spelling and the grammar of those names. If a user was to type, for example, Stephen, which is a name that is not in that list, then Excel would basically turn around and instruct that user that what they've typed in is not allowed. And the nice thing with this is that I can retry, which will allow me to fix it, or if I was to cancel, it would just get out of it. From there, an amount sold was typed in. Now, when the amount sold was typed in, a percentage had to be determined based on that amount sold, and that was based around this table over here. So anything from basically 0 to 2,999 would get 10%. Anything from 3 to 599, 15%, and so on. So the user would actually have to, after typing in the amount sold, then go and type in what the percentage was. So here, as you can see, I've created a formula, and it's an advanced formula, but that formula, when typing in amount sold, will be able to then determine what the percentage is based on that value, which means it would be correct, you'll never make a mistake, and it obviously saves the time of having to now type that in yourself. The total is just a straightforward plus and times function. And over here I have gone once again and used the list for the travel method. Now the objective of this is that when choosing what kind of travel method I used, the total amount column would either times the kilometer traveled by 10 or multiply it by 5. Example, if my kilometer travel is 125, when putting in own car, it would multiply by 10, giving me a total amount of 1,250. Whereas if I went and said I used a company car, it would multiply then by 5, and the 125 times by 5, as you can see, gives me the 6,250. So once again, I'd used a formula to look at what the travel method was, so that that formula could then times the kilometer by 10 or times the kilometer by 5. So I'm actually running two totally separate formulas there, but I've got another formula which controls when I want it times by 5 and when I want it times by 10. But on top of that, if I actually selected no travel, then a formula would not be calculated, hence the 0 coming up, which has been represented as a dash. So these are the kind of things that you're going to be taught on that course. This in fact is one of the tables, one of the exercises that you will be doing, and it's not difficult to put together, but you do need somebody to show it. And with this Excel Advanced course, it's got an entire day for the trainer to sit and teach you how these formulas will work.